So the first great question from Jason was, how have I changed this season as a coach and why? It's a really, really good question, because I think as a coach during every season, if you haven't learned, if you haven't developed as a coach, you're kind of missing certain elements that you need to be adapting with. And when you think of myself, I believe that I've improved mainly from my reflection. So before I put a session on, my reflection was, yeah, the kids enjoyed themselves, that was it. Or yeah, it went well. Didn't have a kid moaning, didn't have a parent moaning, that's good. But now it's kind of, my reflection is more on how each player found the session. You do hear a phrase quite often where they say, the session was catered around my best player. I think that's really difficult, because if you've got a difference in developmental levels, you're going to be isolating certain players out unless you know how to manage difference. And when I say manage difference, that's identifying which players are stronger, which players need that extra sort of help with regards to different elements of their game. So if you were to give an instruction to one player, you know deep down that player will get it and understand it, where the other player may need a bit more information, maybe a few more Q&As, or maybe even drawn down onto a whiteboard for them to understand it. But remember, you've got different types of learners as well. So for me personally, the massive part where I've really developed as a coach this season is my reflection. And with reflection comes your development as well. So your development of the sessions, development of the pre-game, the way you approach your start of the game, or the way you may challenge certain players during a game. So I look at how my training sessions have gone. I then implement certain elements of that training session into my game, and then from my game reflection, that will then dictate kind of how we and why we train on a weekend. Different elements. It could be, we need a bit of work on transitional as a defensive side instead of attacking side, so we need to identify that. So for me, it's an understanding more of that element. So the second question from Jason was, what do you do better now than you did before? And again, I think that's understanding my players. So understanding what type of players I've got. I listened to a podcast a few months ago, and one said that you need to identify in your team whether you've got developmental players or you've got leisure players. So leisure players are the type of players that want to come along, have fun, build friendships, and you've got a different type of player in like a leisure player that want to learn, want to develop, want to go further in the game. And I think that's a very, very hard thing to kind of identify in your squad, because you never know when a person is actually going to swap from the leisure to the developmental side. That's very difficult. So for me, it's understanding what the players want and giving a bit more player ownership to the session. So I may set up a basic session, but halfway through the session I may say to them, so how can we make this harder for you? Or what could we be doing to make it easier, depending on what type of group I've got and how I think the session's going. So as coaches, you can't just design a session expect it to run. You need to be standing there on the side, reflecting on how the session's going at that precise moment. Do you need to make any interventions, so fly-by interventions? So if one player, for instance, you want to give an instruction to or a challenge to, just pull that one player to one side, and allow the session to carry on going while you speak to that one player. That for me has made a massive, massive difference in my sessions and enabling my ball rolling time. So the amount of times the ball's carrying on and continuously rolling, to be quite high in my sessions. So the last question was, where might you feel you need to improve as a coach? I think it's a question that, as a coach, you need to be asking yourself quite frequently. So if something is not going right within your team, or within a match day, it's not so much what can you do with the players. Is there anything that I can do as the coach? How can I change how I'm approaching a game or approaching sessions that might help improve the sort of morale that's going on within the side, or how the side are playing as a team? I do think it's massive if you're not reflecting on your own development. So when I say development, I'm always looking to better myself. So I'm always looking to go on different courses, from the futsals to level 1 and 2s in footballs, to the goalkeeping, to curvers, which are obviously an outside party that they do. So it's just always look to better yourself, and by bettering yourself, you're going to bring more knowledge and more examples for your players, which can only be a good thing. And I think for me, it's just constant development. So CPD events. I went to my first CPD event a couple months ago, which is where I met Jason, who's RC3 questions today. He's he is Essex coach mentor. So his job is to come along to your sessions or your games, give a bit of reflection on how it went and what went well and could be better risks and stuff like that, which are really helpful. The support that they give is unbelievable. I know I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for someone like Jason. Just give me that little confidence and that support, especially to do something like this. Definitely put my neck out there. I think improving as a coach is getting more knowledge so that I can also try and help more people with better knowledge, and that way obviously more players are going to benefit as well. So I think to improve as a coach is to keep on getting more knowledge and growing as a coach. That also comes under experience, so getting more experience, never shying away from opportunities. So for instance, myself, I coach at the PSG Academy in Essex, and I would never have gone for that if I didn't have confidence in myself and my own abilities, partly due to someone like Jason that was giving me a load of confidence and morale that I am capable of doing what I'm doing. So yeah, just keep developing, and I think that's massive. So guys, Jason, thank you for them three really good questions. Really appreciated that. Hope that answers all of them for you from my point of view. And anyone that's watching this video, if there was any good answers for you and you can relate to anything, please like, comment or subscribe. Really appreciate the support. If there is any topics you wish to talk about or get my views on, please just leave it in the comments below, and I'll hope to do a video on them soon. Cheers guys.